I think it might be inside the Netflix player. It seems like it's grayed out.
Oh.
Good call.
There you go.
Are the speakers on your computer on?
There's a dial on the control there that could be turned up. It's just a knob, like a radio control knob. And you should get turned all the way to the green to the red.
Hey!
All right.
Where's my pill? Oh my god, I don't know where it is, you guys. I'm serious. Dude. Oh, I knew I put it somewhere. Oh. Is there a cotton over here? Move it or lose it, bud. Oh my god. Watch out! No! Run away. Now! I need to alleviate some serious pain here. That's funny. It's so fun for shooting at my mom's house, huh? Excuse me.
All right. Hydrocodone, oxycodone, and hydromorphone are all synthetic, semi-synthetic, or man-made forms of prescription opiates. I have personal experience with all these different types of dangerous narcotics, and currently I'm 13 months sober from all of them. That is why today I would like to prescribe you all information on the dangers of opiate medications. I would be very surprised if everyone in here has not dealt with or known someone who has had experience with some sort of prescription opiates in their lifetime, Vicodin, Oxycontin, morphine, something like that. I will be discussing on how doctors today are overprescribing opiate medications to patients for the simplest of illnesses, how easy it is to overdose on opiate medications, and how opiate medications are becoming an epidemic in society today. As physicians have expanded their use of opiate painkillers like oxycodone and hydrocodone, the abuse and diversion of the drugs has also increased. This, in turn, has led to the Drug Enforcement Administration to intensify its scrutiny on physicians. In an article in 2004 by Sally Satel, MD, she talks about Dr. Frank Fisher, a general practitioner in Shasta County, California. He was arrested by agents from the California State Attorney General's office and charged with drug trafficking and murder. The arrest was based on records indicating that Dr. Fisher had been prescribing high doses of narcotic pain relievers to his patients, 5 of whom died. It was discovered that the patients actually had died from accidents and other medical illnesses and not prescriptions themselves. After a 5 months sentence, last year the charges were dropped. But Dr. Fisher has his medical license back. Yet his ordeal lingers as cautionary tale of what can happen for doctors who treat pain aggressively. Now that we know where the prescribed narcotics are coming from, let's examine how surreal it is to accidentally overdose on these horrific medications. The primary reason narcotics like Oxycontin are abused is that this drug, like all opiate narcotics, can produce euphoria, a sense of well-being. Euphoria is a primary reason why people use opiates non-medicinally. Chronic non-medicinal use of euphoric-producing drugs can lead to addiction, dependency, and possibly death. The state of Ohio reached an all-time low when it saw more drug-related deaths in 2008 and 2009 than the amount of those who died in the World Trade Center attack, according to the Ohio Department of Health. The ODH said the drug of choice for most of the addicts that results in the majority of the accidental deaths is heroin. A staggering amount of addicts using heroin and other opiate medications are now seeking help, a number that has grown by 300% since the year 2000. Opiate medication abuse and addiction are definitely on the rise. As a matter of fact, the majority of opiate users are caught up in prescription drug abuse. In the past 2 decades, the U.S. has epidemic proportions of legitimate and illicit prescription drug abuse. When I talk about opiates, we are encompassing a mass number of drugs, again, both illicit and non-illicit. Opiates include heroin, Oxycontin, morphine, methadone, Vicodin, and just about any other prescription pain pill on the market. Opiate medication abuse and addiction can happen very quickly. It usually happens when a physician prescribes a patient a high dose of medication when it really isn't necessary. Unfortunately, opiate medication is not easy to opiate addiction is not easy to kick. There are intense withdrawal symptoms such as muscle aches, nausea, vomiting, irritability, and insomnia. Based upon personal experiences, the withdrawal symptoms last about 3 weeks and possibly more. In conclusion, after reviewing some major points about opiate prescription abuse and mishandling, I would encourage you all to make sure that you know what you are getting yourselves into when it comes to certain types of medication. Thank you.
So, Matt, what did you think?
Very clear. Very clear indeed. Your thesis was good, very strong. You stuck to it, and you had your points within it, which was nice. The only thing that you could work on is probably just not reading off the cards too much, which you didn't do that much of, but it was a bit noticeable. And just being a bit more confident when you're up there, just speaking to us, kind of thing. But let me see. I think also within your points, you might have got caught up a little bit too much in them when you were, describing the opiates and the uses for them. Just a little bit, not much. Other than that, good job, man.
All right, I think you should probably introduce the video instead of just showing it, because I'm not exactly sure what we're supposed to get out of it at first. I do like the, there's a kind of a dramatic way of getting our attention. So the introduction doesn't have to be involved, but for instance, it could be something simple. Here's something that happens every day in America. I want you guys to watch this for a few seconds. Just something so that we know that you're starting, as opposed to kind of hanging out there and we're waiting for you to start. It goes on a long time. It's 1 minute and 20 seconds, basically, so it's kind of tough that it takes up all that time at the beginning and there's dead space. We're not listening to you, and that cuts into the presentation. Your topic's very clear. I think you've got a nice personal justification that you give for talking about the subject. The preview sounds like it's almost a persuasive. It's a pretty good structure. Unfortunately, I didn't hear that structure in the body of the speech. There was one place where I caught a pretty clear transition on some definitional issues, but other than that, it really felt like I could have been anywhere on the material. I think it needed to be a little bit tighter. On the other hand, the material that was there, I thought it was very good. You had some good examples that were interesting about the doctor who ended up being charged with murder for overprescribing, and it's, he's just one of those people who's being aggressive about it, as opposed to somebody who is dealing out of his backyard, but there's that consequence. And then you had good data on the number of deaths in Ohio, for instance, on those issues. We're getting a little connected. You've got all the opiates in the same category here, so sometimes it seems like it's flowing a little bit back and